Hard work, frustration, and a bit of finesse. This is Nate with Burl and Feather. This is Cam's side table project. 2 years ago, Cam and I bought our house, and slowly we've started to renovate each room. The first major project that we got into was our living room, and after finishing it, I got occupied with other things, like farm stuff. But anyway, I was busy, and I couldn't get around to making Cam any furniture. But finally, I set aside some time to take this white oak that I had some extra stock of and break it down and build her whatever she wanted. And as most women are, she already knew exactly what she wanted, so it was nice and easy for me. I spent a lot of time looking at these boards and figuring out which grain patterns I wanted, and I just made it really easy for you guys. But that was like a 20-minute clip condensed into 10 seconds. Because this piece was going to go inside my own home, I wanted to try a little experiment here. So for my tabletop, I used dominoes, and which you'll see later on. But on the bottom shelf, I used no dominoes. I know they're not for structural support or whatever, they're just for alignment, but I was interested to see if they would actually make a difference over time. And I get to see that firsthand now that it's in my home. While I was titling this video, I came across a bit of an interesting concept. I wasn't sure whether or not this was a end table or a side table. So I took the time to look both of them up and read definitions on both of them. And after all that research, I still have no idea which one's which. So I'm just going to call it a side table because it sounds better. End tables are final. They're on the end. Side tables, they go on the side of stuff. It just sounds right. But you guys tell me what you think. I'm sure you will anyway. Probably one of my favorite things to do on these pieces is to take a look at all the legs and pick out which sides and faces I get to use on which leg. It really can make a difference in a piece if you're trying to face it in a certain direction. At least I really try to take all that grain into consideration and things like knots and defects. I usually try to hide my mistakes or chip outs or whatever in the back of the piece if I need to. There was so much joinery that went into this piece that I really had to stay organized with all of my parts and my glue ups. And it's hard for me sometimes because I don't have a lot of workspace. But I try to mark everything on the ends. That way it'll just get covered up and I can really keep things organized. Speaking of joinery, I've recently started using this domino tool a lot more. It was a handy down from my father who doesn't really use it, so he let me borrow / keep it until I don't need it anymore. Now, on the other side of the joinery spectrum, I recently built a Danish cord bench, which was a ton of fun to build. I'll leave the link to that video down in the description if you want to check it out. But in that build, I used mortise and tenon joinery, and it was different. Now, I don't know which one is stronger or which one's better, but I guess better can be defined in many different ways. But one thing that I do know is that on this side table or end table, whatever it is, there's so many joints that it would have taken me so long to hand cut all of these. So I would say that in this scenario, the domino tool definitely did work out better. I definitely ended up putting way too much glue in this joint. I was trying to get a really cool shot of the squeeze out, but it ended up just being a little too much. While editing, I found this clip where I was visually upset about something. I slammed my hand, frustrated whistles, back and forth, checking things out, looking at the bottom like there was a roadmap on the bottom. I can't, for the life of me, remember what I did wrong or what the problem even was. And I only did this a month ago. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is it really wasn't that big of a deal, clearly. And that's something I think we all needed to learn for a little bit more of. At least I do. Sometimes things seem like a much bigger problem in the moment, like how this top was clearly bowed in the middle, and I'll figure out that problem later. But in the moment, we feel like things are way bigger of a deal, and they're not. What really does matter is that we recognize that something is wrong, and we make steps in an attempt to fix them. I had no idea how I was going to attach the lower shelf to the frame of the end table, but I thought it'd being pretty slick and came up with this little bar that was going to go across. I was kind of working it as I go. That's why I was tapping and thinking again. Did a lot of thinking on this piece. The key here was to install it the correct way. No, I think it was the other way. Yep, that's the way. And making sure that the screws were evenly spread out. With the bottom shelf attached, I can flip the table on its side and get a nice accurate mark along the edge of the table. See, and things do work out. That top is now perfectly flat. With a little persuasion. Okay. Don't worry, I won't bore you with all the sanding that happened in between. This was one of the first times I got to use my new marking knife from Blacktail Studio, who is a phenomenal woodworker. I don't care what he says about himself. The marking knife was given to me as a gift when I started this woodworking journey from my girlfriend, Cameron. That's who this table is for. I realized I've gotten to this point of the video and haven't told you who Cam is. Cam and I have been together for 6 years, and we love each other very much. We have 2 golden retrievers named Addie and Ace, a cat, indoor cat, named Piper, and we have 2 barn cats, Henry and Charlie, and we also have a small farm with a lot of chickens, 2 geese, a bunch of ducks, and soon hopefully a miniature cow, but I'll show you guys pictures of that later. We got to get back to this table, end table, side table, yeah, whatever it is. At this stage in the process, I can step back and it actually looks like an end table. I can nod in approval. I only have 1 flush trim bit. I don't have a half-inch router. So that's how that sketchy shot was done. I know it was a bad idea, but it worked out pretty well. For finish, I'm going to be using Rubio Monocoat, which is probably one of the easiest finishes to apply. But in the first steps, you need to make sure that you get all the oils off. I use mineral spirits to clean everything nicely. Then I can mix up the product that I'm going to use. If you've never used Rubio, it's super simple. It's a 2-part mix. It's an oil-based product that just wipes on, or you polish it on, and then 15 minutes later you wipe it off. And you're just wiping, and more wiping. You know, you can't wipe enough off. Another benefit is that the next day after drying, it is ready to go for all of its finishing touches. On all of the indoor furniture I do, I add leather pads to the bottom of the feet. They're far more durable than those felt versions. They are also very satisfying to trim down to size. And while I'm finishing up this project, if you have gotten any entertainment out of this video, anything at all, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe. way I can continue to make videos like this. I really do enjoy what I do, and the support of you guys is immensely appreciated. Not only was I happy with the finished product, but most importantly, Cameron was. And I think this side table filled up the space quite well. And with that, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. See you next time.